came out and just said it. I agree with that. That's amazing. That's what makes wrestling is fun too. Is you just go online sometimes and you just like, I can't believe that person just said that.
Yeah, and one of the guys on Twitter was saying, like, what do you expect? You just got a million bloggers and websites and podcasts.
Got to feed him something.
Yeah, asking him all these questions, and eventually he's probably just going to come right out and say what he's been thinking.
I assume he's still a millionaire, Bret Hart.
Sure.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He made a lot of money.
He still owns that hockey team up there in Canada.
I think he does.
Yeah.
But like, I wonder sometimes where you have old time wrestlers. Go back to Bruno Sammartino. Do you think he has a big house, or that's so long ago?
I wouldn't know.
Where $1,000 is actually today $20,000. You know, was he getting paid millions? And if millions then, that couldn't have carried over to now with currency.
Yeah, no. Yeah, and I don't really hear a lot about Bruno Sammartino doing appearances or anything like that. I mean,
well, even Bret Hart, he got paid millions in WCW. I'm just trying to think of a wrestler.
Well, yeah, I mean, the money, no doubt. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, kind of in that Bret Hart generation, that's when it really blew up. Like, after Hulk Hogan made wrestling, you know...
Like, Steve Austin must be a millionaire.
I would think so.
Right. Well, because where did his money go?
Who?
Steve Austin. If Steve Austin made millions in 1998, 1999, 2000, the big years, he made millions. That's 15 years. That's 13 years ago.
Well, I mean, if you invest it well and you don't blow it all, you can certainly live off that.
Yeah, he does. He owns like a ranch, and like same thing with Bret Hart. You know, these wrestlers. I always wonder because, like, all right, for instance, a story about wrestler Kamala. He recently suffered. He had diabetes and had to get both his legs amputated. And I know he was a big star in like the early 80s, well, the late 70s, early 80s, and then he showed up in the WWF here and there throughout time. He's gone, so he loses both of his legs. Where did he have a lot of money? Did he piss it away? Was there just a... That's what I always wonder.
I would think that a guy like Kamala, he didn't really get to that level where he was making millions. I'm sure he made a decent living.
Right.
But, I mean, you see it all the time in professional sports. With guys who they come out with these huge contracts and they just blow it all. They make stupid investments.
Oh, they do?
Oh, all the time. There was a documentary on ESPN. It was called, it's a part of their 30 on 30 series. It was called Broke. Mm-hmm. And they interviewed all these guys who, you know, just made stupid investments. Like, bought a nightclub, bought a restaurant.
Did they have, like, $30 million deals, or was it like, hey, you're going to make $5 million?
Well, I mean, you had, like, $5 million a year type contracts.
Yeah.
But, you know, you buy these huge houses, you buy these expensive cars.
And the house
house for everyone
and taxes.
In your neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, it's this status symbol. Mm-hmm. And then you don't realize, like, hey, if I'm lucky, I get to play for 10 years.
Yeah.
For the most part, whether you get injured, whether...
It's like, wait, what are you going to do for the next 50 years in your life?
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, most of us are working up until we're 65, 70.
Right.
The professional athlete, you're lucky if you get to 35.
Right, and you would think that you could continue on.
Yeah, I mean, you can't sustain that type of lifestyle.
But
going back to a guy like Kamala.
Yeah.
Like, even still, he wasn't making... there's no way he was making millions of dollars.
No, but a living.
Sure.
A decent living in those times,
and that's if you did everything right, too.
Yeah.
I mean, like we were talking before about, you know, the rock star lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know Kamala's backstory, but it wouldn't surprise me if, you know, he got mixed up in some stuff like that and, you know, had to continue wrestling. And then that puts more strain on your body and gets you hooked on more pills. I mean, come on, it's a common refrain in wrestling of, you know, these guys who get down a rough road.
Yeah, like Justin Credible works at the Olive Garden.
Well, yeah.
And Shane Douglas is working at Target.
Yeah, even the guys that are still grinding it out, doing indie shows, traveling all around. I mean, those guys aren't making a ton of money.
No, like 5 years ago, I met Kamala. He wrestled in like Lynn, Massachusetts.
Sure he did.
And he was there, and King Kong Bundy was there. It's like, these guys gotta be late 50s, and they're out there still wrestling. But, like, you have King Kong Bundy, again, a wrestler who probably main evented WrestleMania 2, big wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
And then I just always wonder what happened to the money?
Yeah.
Were you thinking this could last forever?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I work with a guy who his nephew was in the WWE.
Really?
His name escapes me now. He was in the Spirit Squad. Kenny Dykstra.
Okay, yep.
And he said that now in the WWE, the new guys that come up, they actually educate them on financials, saying like, okay, you're making this much, you know, you should really invest it. You should put this much aside. You should spend this because that story has been played out so many times with these guys who had all this money and ended up blowing it and losing it. Now they're actually trying to educate people up front that, you know, try to prevent those things from happening. But I also was listening to a podcast, Cole Cabana's podcast, with New Jack.
Yep.
Which, if you haven't listened to that, you absolutely have to, because New Jack is completely out of his mind and tells some crazy stories. But he actually brought up Kamala and kind of the unfortunate situation that is. And he was kind of saying that it would be nice if the WWE kind of set up some sort of pension or some retirement fund. I mean, they're making billions of dollars.
But they're contract workers.
Right.
They're freelancers.
Sure, they have no obligation to do it.
Yeah.
But as a sign of goodwill and good faith to the people that helped build the company, don't you think they could kind of give a little back? It's the same thing that's going on in the NFL.
But they have but in WWE they have, you want to go to rehab, they'll pay for that.
Right.
They will not. You don't have to pay anything. If you worked for them for a day, hey, you can go, like Matt Hardy, Jake the Snake, Scott Hall, they've all called the WWE. Everybody, even smaller wrestlers I can't think of off the top of my head right now.
Sure.
Everybody. If you have a drug problem, they'll pay for you to go rehab because, like how you said, they're trying to teach these young wrestlers, you know, about finances. It's because they don't want in the next 15, 20 years to hear the stories they're hearing now about the wrestlers from the 80s all dying young, all going to rehab.
Certainly not good for business.
No, so in 15 years, you're not going to hear these stories anymore.
Yeah.
They'll be like, so when it does happen to one person, it'll be the biggest thing in the world. Like Roman Reigns doing cocaine in 15 years. Hey.
Back off on Roman Reigns.
No, I'm a Dean Ambrose, man.
Well, whatever.
Well, let's talk about Dean Ambrose.
All right, well, let's talk about Raw, Steve. Let's take us through it.
Let's go to the pieces of paper with my notes. The Shield. I think sometimes groups like an Evolution or the Nexus, they're pushed down your throat, and you really don't want that happening because nobody wants anything pushed down their throat.
No.
But the Shield, they've just been like little pieces here, little pieces there. They were gone for like 2 weeks, and they came back. That's what makes them good. It's like a rare occasion. They're not being wasted and shoved down your throat.
Yeah, and they're not really building them up to be like this unstoppable force. Like, yeah, they're terrorizing the WWE and taking out some of the big stars, but it's not like the NWO where it's like, we're taking over, like, we're this, like I said, this unstoppable force. They're kind of like these hired guns who just come in and fuck shit up whenever they feel like it. So, but I agree. Yeah, definitely not getting shoved down your throat, which is a nice departure in wrestling.
But that was the end of Raw, and John Cena was supposed to come out and call out the Shield he was sick and tired of being, disrespected and beaten the crap out of. But before that, Brad Maddox.
Right.
One of my shining stars. If there was a fantasy wrestling league, boom, I'd pick him.
And I'm sure you do well, too.
Because he always appears.
Well,
so if we're going by points and appearance...
They did have fantasy wrestling
for a little while. But he came out and he was quoting the most recent Batman movie. He was quoting Bane a couple times to the Shield, and I thought that was hilarious. And at one point, he actually slipped in like a little accent of Bane, and I was like, "Yes, Brad Maddox."
I don't think I picked up on that.
Yeah, this is exactly what he said. I'm not gonna do a Bane impression for you because it'll be terrible. It'll be terrible.
All right.
I'll do it.
Do it.
Justice awaits you.
All right, that's pretty bad.
That was him, right? Nah, I was just kidding. That was a...
Justice awaits you.
Yeah, justice awaits you. But that's what he said to the Shield. The Shield comes...
Sorry, everybody.
The Shield came down and just beat the crap out of him.
Yeah,
but
pretty easily.
Then John Cena appeared out in the crowd.
Right.
And he started coming down. We had Sheamus in the crowd, Ryback in the crowd.
Yep.
These three are going at it. And it showed last Monday night the Shield can beat these three at the same time.
But there was kind of a divide and conquer in that one.
Yeah.
Like, they first came out and took out John Cena. So while he was beat up, they took care of Sheamus. And then, so they kind of were able to all focus on one guy at a time. But when it was 3-on-3,
They couldn't do it.
They couldn't do it.
But it wasn't really a 3-on-3 because they tried to escape up the ramp, and then Randy Orton and Mysterio and Sin Cara and all these other talents.
From the back.
Yep, the talents who got beaten up by the Shield showed up to save, John Cena and Sheamus. So it wasn't really even.
No.
So I look forward to that. That led to the match coming up in 1 week. Elimination Chamber. You have the Shield taking on Ryback, Sheamus, and John Cena. But where does that leave Ryback and Sheamus and the Shield for WrestleMania? Because John Cena's got his date booked. Whoever the heavyweight champion is, the WWE champion, he'll be fighting WrestleMania.
Sure.
Is Sheamus and Ryback gonna get like in each other's faces in that match, and then they fight each other at WrestleMania? And the Shield, what's gonna happen to them?
Well, maybe. I know that the rumors for Ryback and Sheamus, as of a few weeks ago, were that Sheamus would be taking on Randy Orton,
which seems to be
for the millionth time.
What happened? They are like missing out on Randy Orton too. But anyways, continue.
And then Ryback and Big Show.
Yeah, that's what the rumors are. But right now, it's like, how are we gonna get there?
Yeah, I don't know.
But we're getting. But actually, you know what? If Elimination Chamber is just next week, we have probably like 5-6 weeks to get to WrestleMania.
True.
So it's a lot of TV. You can fill in the gaps.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be this, seething storyline that's been building up for months. I mean, it looks like it's going to be something that is kind of thrown together. But those matches would probably be lower card anyway when you have something like John Cena versus The Rock. Most likely Triple H versus Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Which we need to start building up too.
And where's The Undertaker?
Right. I mean, now I'm hearing that Undertaker's not
I know.
back.
I was reading that too. That means I could see a triple threat Rock, Cena, Punk main event WrestleMania. Because
would be good.
Punk deserves it.
I think so.
Like I love CM Punk, but I'll admit when people don't deserve certain things. But he's been the best. He could say best in the world, but he's been the best in the WWE for the past 434 days.
Absolutely. And him as a character, him on the mic, I mean, he puts everyone else to shame.
Yeah.
Like
sadly.
we were talking about last week with Paul Heyman, really elevating what a promo is. Punk's right up there with him. I mean, he's an excellent character, and he's a damn good worker. I mean, when he first came along, I said he wasn't, but I can't say that.
I was always a CM Punk fan.
I know you were. But now that he's cut his hair and now that he's got an attitude and he speaks his mind, I'm a fan of him as well.
You got some confidence.
No, he's fantastic. And I think that triple threat option that you were talking about, I think it would be great. Because, I mean, last year we had Cena Rock. They built it up for a year.
I know. So now they can give it to me.
They had all the promos. It was once in a lifetime. And, I bought in. I was ready. I was like, I want to see this match. And I saw it, and I think it lived up to expectations. I enjoyed the match. How are you really going to sell that to me again? And just tell me, well, now it's for the belt. No,
so
I'm
more
sorry.
important.
No, I don't care.
Right.
I mean, if you're going to have a sequel, you need to make it interesting. And I think putting Punk in that match, now you got a match. Now you have something I want to see.
Because all three of them are just going to beat the crap out of each other, combustible elements.
Yeah, and
the biggest stage of all.
There's so much more you can do. You threw another guy in there.
And CM Punk deserves to be on the level with The Rock and John Cena, especially if he's been the one carrying the belt for the whole year and a half. He deserves to be in the main event of the biggest show. Why, The Rock just pops in? Because he's making a movie called Snitch?
Dude, he's making all kinds of
whatever the hell it's called.
Well, he's in the G.I. Joe movies, in milk commercials. Man, you get ready to see some Rock, not just on WWE TV. He's going to be everywhere.
Probably. But
through the summer.
The CM Punk Rock element going into Elimination Chamber, they'll be fighting each other as well. And that's what makes it even better because we just had Rock vs. Punk at Rumble. Great match. Now we're going to Elimination Chamber, Rock vs. Punk. Like you said, WrestleMania could be the triple threat match now if Undertaker is out of the equation. They're just been building to the CM Punk Rock over and over because their matches are going to get better and better and better. And then you go to WrestleMania, it's like amazing. But I just wanted to read a little quote he had on Monday night when he came out to talk to the WWE Universe about what happened. He said, "Did I overreact last week when I came out here and yelled and screamed and threw a tantrum? If you think I overreacted, it's clear to me you haven't held something as special as the WWE title. In fact, I doubt anyone in this building has done anything special in their lives."
Yeah, no, he really gave it to the crowd.
And I love CM Punk for doing that because
he was being a star.
all you losers in life get what you deserve because you get out of it what you put into it, which is nothing. CM Punk.
And when CM Punk came down, did you notice he grabbed someone's sign and ripped it up?
I love when they do that.
Did that remind you of something that happened between you and Randy Orton at a WWE live event?